What's up, guys? Papa Andrew has come back. I'm back, man. I need to say, I just recently thought of something. I feel like I finished the internet. I finished the internet and I'm bored. You know, I spend 8 to 12 hours on the internet every day, which now that I say that out loud sounds pretty insane. And it is. My brain has gotten out of control, but not in an unpleasant way. Simply what I've seen happen is when I was younger, when I used to use the internet, I would just look for silly things to watch. I just want to watch silly things. I used to watch the iPod Human by Ryan Higa. By the way, that guy is a really good filmmaker. But this is what people do when they're kids nowadays. They go watch TikTok. I used to watch Vine. I used to watch TikTok even, maybe 5-6 years ago. I used to watch TikTok just for fun. But there comes a point when you've seen all the silly things. And so then you look for better stuff. So for me, the stuff I look for is start watching more serious videos, which I always did, but I started to become somebody who basically only used YouTube and only watched YouTube on social media as my social media. And so, yeah. So I only watch YouTube videos. And to be honest, bro, YouTube's getting stale. I don't know if it was just because I was younger, but dude, back in 2018, you can even go back to 2016. I just remember every video, everything was fresh, bro, on social media. Everything was just so fresh. And if you guys ever wonder why I don't make videos where it's informational and it's yo guys, look at this unsolved mystery. It's because I've heard of all of them, bro. And the thing is, they're not even that interesting anymore because I've heard them all. And the reason I've heard them all is because something that YouTubers do is they just copy each other. All the YouTubers just copy each other. I've worked for YouTube channels, bro. And if you try to be original, they'll tell you not to because they don't know for sure if it will get views. So then it's not worth them making the video. So now we just have YouTube becoming they're a couple people that are original and actually make good content. And then you got the people that react to it. Some of the people that react actually add original thought and ideas to them, and those people are okay. And then other people that react literally just contribute nothing. And I'm just bro, really? Come on, dude. Y'all don't even have original thoughts to contribute. You're just there. And then the rest is not any better than the React channels. The rest of the people on YouTube are people that see the original people's videos. And then they just like, they basically either remake it or they are super heavily inspired by it and basically copy the video. And to be clear, I'm not talking about the people that, give credit to the person that they were inspired by and actually made something new. That's different. But you know what I'm talking about. People that just like basically copy another video. It's so annoying, dude. It's not even annoying. It's just boring. Boring, dude. So the reason I don't make videos like where I'm like, oh, look at this unsolved mystery you definitely don't know about, and I'm like all this sensational stuff, is because I don't want to make a video unless I feel like I have something original to contribute. I don't want to just copy other people. I feel like that's dumb. And even if I made money from it, I would definitely be dying inside, feeling like I'm genuinely adding nothing to the world. So instead, I think that a better thing for me to contribute to YouTube is to talk like I am right now. I don't script this crap out. This is literally my thoughts, bro. This is my thoughts. And that's why people watch me, right? Because even though my videos might be kind of boring, at the very least, you're hearing something original from somebody that's not like performative. Although I'm starting to sound performative saying this. But, it's just like raw thinking data. So, I've watched the entire internet, guys. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Every YouTube video I click on, I just know exactly how it's gonna go. I know exactly how to write a YouTube video. I can predict a script. I can tell when a YouTube video is AI generated based on the writing. I can just tell, bro. And the thing is, a lot of people can't, bro. Like, I'll look at the comments and people just like, the engagement will be bad because it's just AI generated crap. But people will be, they'll still be commenting. It's usually like older people that don't know any better. And then the older people are actually contributing original good information in the comments from real lived experience. And, they're the only ones that are being original. So shout out to the old people, I guess. But by the way, you can tell a YouTube comment is an old person when it's just like their profile picture is just like a letter. Yeah, that's like, that person's like 70, dude. And by the way, those are the best comments. But yeah, bro, I just know how a video is gonna go. I know exactly how, like, what strategies the YouTubers use to make money, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just know exactly what their thing is. I know exactly what they're doing. I know exactly. I can tell if they use a structure or a template to make their scripts, if they have similar videos. It's just like and the problem is, like, 90% of the time when I watch a YouTube video, it's something that I already know. And this sounds like really like fucking like I don't know, like, it sounds like I'm being like a midwit right now, and I am a midwit, but I don't think I'm smart because of this. I just think I'm a degenerate who spends too much time on the internet. I've just heard all the stories, and I've just watched so many videos that you start to see patterns, and the patterns that you start to see are just like when you see the hook. You can tell when a video is going to waste your time when they try to blue ball you with the information. The title will be like something, and then you click on it to see what the title is, and then it's like 20 minutes long, and then they don't tell you like right away, and then they keep dragging it out. They're just blue balling you, and then it's not even worth like figuring out anymore, right? To begin, anyways. So yes, I have watched the internet. I think I finished the internet, bro. And I have a couple ideas I want to relay to you guys. So the first one, let me save the better idea for last, okay? So the first idea I want to talk about is I've been thinking about, instead of vlogging, because there's something that I forgot the name of, but it's a law, Murph's Law, I think, that when people are being recorded, they will act differently. So sometimes I wonder, sometimes I think these vlogs are so different because there's a camera. Whatever happened to people writing in a journal, Like when I do something that I would usually record for a vlog, which would be traveling, why wouldn't I just live the experience like truly firsthand with no impact from Moore's Law and from the camera, and get that true, authentic experience, and then remember it really well and write about it really well, because I have pretty good writing skills, I'd say. So why don't I do that? And then why don't I just tell people a more authentic experience that was lived firsthand and preserved well because I'd written it down quickly. So that's an idea that I had. What if instead of travel vlogging, I told stories about what would be a travel vlog, except described well and from firsthand experience? Okay, now here's the second, way more, interesting idea to me. Because I have finished the internet, and by the way, obviously news is not something that I've finished the internet of, but to be honest with you, even the news starts to follow a pattern. Okay, first of all, I'm constantly hearing news about stuff that never even freaking happens, bro. Like they're constantly telling us, and this is from YouTubers too, bro. They're constantly telling us, oh, guys, brace yourself. This is about to happen. The economy's about to collapse. This is going to happen. Political figure XYZ is going to do something. And it's just like, it never does, bro. And the news cycle is so ADHD that there will be like a big story that's literally a mystery, and they never follow up on it. It drives me crazy, bro. Why do they never follow up on the details of things I want to know? Like they never give these updated stories for like stuff that's like a mystery. It's freaking annoying, bro. It's like they don't care all of a sudden. So, yeah, but the thing is, like, you start to also see patterns with news where honestly stuff has happened before, and like everybody is so sensational even with people getting canceled, bro, like, I'm like, why do you guys care? Why do you guys care if someone's getting canceled? Like, don't you see the cycle of how this works? Unless it was something like really serious, you know that the cancellation's gonna do nothing, which I'm fine with. I don't believe in canceling people unless it's something super serious, bro. And when people get canceled on the internet, it's such a stupid word. When people get canceled on the internet, everyone that was like a day one fan all of a sudden is like, yeah, I never liked them anyways. And they always are like, dude, they switch up on them so quick. I just never understood that, bro. I've honestly never really switched up on somebody that got canceled. Like, there were times where I was like, yeah, that was weird that they did that, or that was fucked up, but I didn't just like switch up and be like, oh, I'm never gonna watch them again. Oh, I hate them. And then like try and like, to be honest, you know what it is? It's either like low IQ behavior or it's like low level mind map type of thing. It's like a level, lower level of consciousness type of thing. Where people are like doing this behavior, getting so caught up in little things. Like, it's a lower level of consciousness because you're not smart enough to like foresee that this isn't as big of a deal as you're getting caught up in, as you know, the deal that you think you're getting caught up in. So yeah, with the news, I'm just like, something will happen and I'll be like, oh, this has happened before with a different person, dude. Like the same thing. And I can just kind of know what, I don't, it's not always the same, but I can predict most of the time like how it's gonna generally be like, you know, oh yeah, okay, they'll probably, you know, they'll just go offline for a while and they'll it's just all predictable, bro. And then the final thing that I was gonna say is I think what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to read books because nobody reads books anymore, bro. Nobody reads books anymore. And the problem is, all of that original content we used to have on YouTube came from people reading books. Books have like 99% of all human knowledge, and the internet has like, not counting books, the neo internet has like 1%. So we really should be reading. I mean, no, actually, you don't have to, dude. I will be trying to read books because books have all the originality that you're craving when you look through YouTube and it's dry, right? You look through YouTube and it's as dry as it's always been. So, so yeah, read books. Sorry, just had a brain fart, bro. Think about libraries, bro. And by the way, read old books, man. Don't read like these books that are written by these like soy goy slop, you know, soy latte drinking, freaking, you know, soy jacks, bro. Don't read these books, bro. Read old books because we need to uncover things that the internet seems to be trying to make disappear. And I don't know about you, but I feel like we've lost something that we used to know about ourselves. We've lost many of these things with the internet. And it's almost like the internet kind of paved over all of those things and acts like they don't exist. But I just feel like there are things that you need to remember, and you can only do that by reading an older book. And if you want to get more technical about what I'm talking about, what I mean is that an older book is a mental model of a person. That person's writing is basically a fingerprint or an output created by a giant network of all of their experiences and thoughts. Now, I think we could conclude that the internet has shaped our network, our modern network, also known as our brain, to be dysfunctional because of the amount of self-reflection that we don't do, which people before the internet did all the time. And because of that, I think there's been a lot of atrophy of certain brain functions that correlate to feeling alive and being an individual that have been repressed by the internet and by being distracted all the time. So I think by reading the writings of people that existed before the internet, I think you're able to rewire the pathways that were lost in the brain that correlated to being self-aware. I don't know if that's the best word. The human experience, essentially, to being alive and well and sentient in a deeply human way that you cannot find on the internet. And so I think reading these books will remind you of your humanity, right? And these books will remind you of human behavior that we've lost, right? So, like, one example is, like, imagine a pirate book where, when you're writing the character of a pirate or any character, like, you as the author are going off of your own lived experiences or your own social experiences and interactions to write that individual. Now, reading social interactions that were written vicariously, they're vicarious through the character via the author, and based on the author's own social interactions. These will remind you of normal human behaviors, and I think it will be refreshing to read, and I think you might find old feelings of life and almost like spirituality, but I don't mean like actual spirituality. I just mean like the spirit of living, and kind of like that the human experience of not being distracted and experiencing your five senses. Now, the reason I bring that up is that we don't experience our senses as much anymore. And the reason that I think that is that our primary medium is video and audio. And we now use this for 95% of our daily processing, communication processing. And that transfers well into interpersonal interactions. But I think when we're watching a video and we've trained our brain to emphasize extremely emphasize eyes, visual processing and auditory processing, but none of our other senses, I think that actually that might create an effect in perpetuity in which a human loses pathways that create awareness to these other senses. Now, I think meditation might help with that, as far as I understand meditation, which is just being aware of your senses and focusing on that. But I think that another way that you can reopen these pathways is by reading books written by people that didn't dull their other senses, that weren't their eyes and ears, where they write vicariously through a character, and this character describes, either in the first or third person or second person, they describe feeling things, and they describe life and living and being alive. They describe the sun on their neck, and they describe the smell of the flowers, of the grass, freshly cut, of, vibes, bro. They describe vibes. Vibes are made up of our five senses, and maybe there's a spiritual element to vibes too. I don't know, but the point is, we all remember like when we were kids. I don't know if this applies to you, but at least for me, I used to feel more alive as a kid. Yeah, and I can't explain it, but life felt like it was like 4K, life felt vivid. And I think part of that being dulled is due to technology, for the reasons I mentioned, an overt emphasis on visual processing and audio processing. And I think reading books might actually help to reawaken these old pathways of my old, senses, and being aware of them. Hope that made sense. Oh, and also, I think a lot of our feelings are dulled. I think our feelings are dulled as humans because of just watching videos as our primary communication source. And I think these books can help you remember old feelings that are very specific to the human experience. And if you think about it, when you find an old feeling that you forgot that you used to have, that you forgot that you used to feel, you're rediscovering what it is to be human. You're rediscovering your own humanity. And whether you believe humanity is something that's created by an intelligent design, or, well, representative of an intelligent design. Or wait, that's not the right phrase. Whether you believe humanity's complexity was made by intelligent design, or you believe that it was due to evolution, or both. Either way, it still makes sense, because in the evolutionary interpretation, you are rediscovering your old evolutionary mental traits via this process that I'm talking about. So, yeah. And the other part is, bro, books. Even as a creator, guys, if you're a creator, I hope some creators watch me. I love all of you though, but if you're looking for inspiration to create, you got to stop just looking at YouTube. Everybody already copies. Everybody already copies everyone else on YouTube. You need to find a new source to make original content that blows people away. You need to stop only focusing on the 1% of human knowledge and start to look at the 99% of human knowledge that we've had for thousands of years. I mean, for me personally, nothing's more, well, the Bible is very, very inspiring when you're trying to create. A lot of the best stories ever written were biblical in nature, and they actually had biblical themes and followed outlines of biblical stories, and also had biblical values. And that's not just the Bible, though. There are other things that are extremely inspiring too. Derivatives of the Bible that are made into narrative works are extremely, inspiring in their own way. So yeah, man, there's just endless human knowledge out there, and I'm not sure if I can really tell you guys what website exactly, but there's a website where you can download or read any book that's ever been written. So it's not about money either, man. And if you wanted to be more legal about it, then go ahead and, you can download ebooks from your library. So, yeah. And the last thing I want to say, I think this is my third last thing, dude, is that just by learning to read, which I haven't mastered yet. I mean, I know how to read, but I get bored reading books. It's sad to say, but I do get bored reading books. But just by mastering that, you put yourself ahead of 99% of people in the world, basically. And you're teaching your brain to focus at a very, very high level. And I think that just enhances your human experience. So yeah, the internet is boring. I've watched the entire internet, and I think it's time to read books because my brain craves knowledge. And I don't mean that in a pretentious way like Ty Lopez. I genuinely mean that. And it's probably because of habit, but, I'm always looking for new information, like something I've never heard of, and YouTube's just not doing it for me anymore. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one. Peace.